Welcome to Express Book Insights. Today, we will go through the book How to Stop Feeling Like Shit, a straightforward, empathetic guide for anyone struggling with self-defeating behaviors to managing negative emotions. In life, we inevitably experience setbacks that generate various negative emotions. People often think that the source of negative emotions comes from specific events that make us unhappy, such as arguments with a partner or criticism from a boss. However, the author Andrea Owen believes that it's the underlying bad thinking habits behind these events that are the real culprits of negative emotions. Owen is a well-known speaker and life coach in the United States, who also runs her online community, offering emotional counseling. She herself went through a series of setbacks, including breakups and unemployment, leading her to feel that life was joyless and that she was worthless. She constantly asked herself, "How did I end up here? Why am I so foolish?" Eventually, Owen spent a considerable amount of time in psychotherapy and realized that it was various bad thinking habits that dragged her into unhappiness. She also found that many people, especially women, easily suffer from these habits. Some habits might make people feel good in the short term but create more pain in the long run. For example, the habit of perfectionism gives people a sense of control over life but also generates anxiety and makes it easy to conflict with others. The habit of pleasing others gains external recognition, but also makes it difficult to reject others' requests, leading to struggle and pain. To eliminate negative emotions, we need to bravely confront these bad thinking habits, identify and deal with them, and at the same time learn to open our hearts to care for ourselves. This is the only way to achieve true freedom and peace. In this book, Owen, combining her coaching experience, analyzes a series of bad thinking habits in depth. I have selected the more common and impactful habits from the book and categorized them into three types: lack of confidence, fear of failure, and suppression of emotions. Next, I will explain the different forms of each category, their causes and solutions. Lack of confidence first. Let's talk about the first category of bad thinking habits: lack of self-confidence. We mainly discuss three manifestations. The first is self-criticism. People who criticize themselves always think that their personality, appearance, or work, etc. are not good enough. They constantly find faults in themselves and feel that their life is a mess, even if others think they are good. Self-critics will feel that it is just politeness, not sincerity. Self-critics also compare themselves to friends, colleagues, or any other people, thinking that they are too fat, too lazy, or not happy enough compared to others. Some people know rationally that these self-criticisms are not true, but they can't help thinking this way, which makes them suffer from persistent self-doubt and shame. The author believes that there are two common sources of self-criticism. One is the original family. Many parents are keen on criticizing their children, making them feel they are never good enough. A woman named Heather told the author that her mother was very concerned about appearance and made her wear different clothes and hairstyles from a young age to make her more beautiful. This made Heather also very concerned about her appearance and often self-critical, thinking she needed to be slimmer and reduce wrinkles to be good enough. The second source of self-criticism is society and culture. In modern society, people always like to rank and compare others. A person's graduation, school, appearance, and income can all be compared. Those who rank high are praised, while those who rank low are looked down upon. Under the influence of this culture, people are used to comparing themselves with others from a young age and easily develop various self-criticisms of "I'm not good enough." In addition, the author believes that many large companies are keen to make women feel they are not good enough in order to make money. Various advertisements tell women they are not beautiful enough, slim enough, or safe enough, encouraging women to buy products to alleviate these anxieties. This also creates a culture that harshly criticizes women, making them feel they have many problems. How to stop the habit of self-criticism. The author believes that we need to learn to notice self-criticism and engage in kind self-talk. The specific operation is as follows. You can take a piece of paper and list different areas of life, such as work, health, intimate relationships, etc., and then think about the self-criticisms in these areas and write them down. You also need to list the specific events that trigger self-criticism. If a person criticizes themselves for being worthless due to some small mistakes at work, causing anxiety and pain, they can list some work mistakes as trigger events, such as not completing work on time or having typos in submitted documents. Also, some people follow many influencers on social media who often show off their lives, whether traveling abroad or showing affection with their partners. This can also trigger comparison psychology and make people feel their lives are not happy enough. Therefore, browsing these accounts also belongs to trigger events. Next, you need to think about which of these trigger events you can avoid. For example, the author's advice for those influencer accounts is to unfollow them directly and not use other people's lives to torture yourself. And for those unavoidable sudden events, when they reoccur and trigger self-criticism, you need to avoid indulging in self-criticism and creating more negative emotions through kind self-talk. You can imagine self-criticism as a person and then say to them, "I know you are talking, but I am not listening." Or, "I don't want to torture myself because of you, so I choose to ignore you." You can also imagine if a good friend encountered the same thing, how you would comfort them. And use the same words to comfort yourself. By persistently replacing self-criticism with kind self-talk, we can learn to care for ourselves and gradually get rid of self-criticism. The second manifestation of lack of confidence is imposter syndrome. Similar to self-criticism, the source of imposter syndrome is also the family of origin and social culture that are keen on criticism. This makes some people, despite being very capable and achieving real success, attribute their success to luck, relationships, or other external reasons, believing they are just a worthless fraudster who will be exposed one day. This thinking habit not only appears in learning and work but also in intimate relationships. A woman named Karen, who has been with her boyfriend for 15 years, knows that her boyfriend likes her, but she still worries that one day he will discover she is not as good as he thought, and then break up with her. In order to overcome imposter syndrome, the author suggests that people learn to affirm their success and reduce self-doubt through self-recognition. We can make a list of achievements for ourselves, writing down what we have done from passing a course exam, finding a job, to getting a promotion at the same time. We also need to write down the reasons why we can achieve these goals. Don't explain the reasons as good luck or because others pointed it out. We need to clearly write that we can do these things because of our own abilities. For example, you can write, "I got into college because I studied hard," or "I got promoted because I am meticulous." This will let us see our true value. As for this list of achievements, we can also think from another perspective. If we are really an imposter, what do we need to do to fool so many people and let a worthless person achieve so many achievements? After serious consideration, we will find that this is an impossible task, which will also strengthen people's confidence and believe that they are truly capable. The third manifestation of lack of confidence is catastrophizing. The author herself has this habit. Her children are happy and healthy. Her marriage with her husband is happy, and her career is also very successful. But she often can't help but think that these good things can't last and will end suddenly one day. The author imagines that her child is diagnosed with cancer or kidnapped. She also worries about suddenly dying and even starts planning her funeral. In the author's view, people who lack confidence have difficulty immersing themselves in happiness. They worry that they don't deserve so many good things and fear losing them in the future, leading to more harm and blows. This is usually because they didn't get enough love and recognition from the outside world in the past, always doubting their own value and meaning. For them, anxiety and self-criticism are familiar norms, while happiness and joy feel strange and uneasy. In addition to the previously discussed forms of lack of self-confidence, such as self-criticism and imposter syndrome, there are other significant habits that further contribute to this detrimental mindset. These include playing small. This habit involves individuals holding back from seizing opportunities or pursuing their goals due to fear and self-doubt. They tend to underestimate their capabilities and avoid taking risks that could lead to growth. Seeking validation from others. Many people with low self-confidence rely heavily on external approval for their self-worth. This habit reflects a deep-seated need for constant affirmation from others, often leading to a loss of personal authenticity and self-reliance. Comparison. This is the tendency to constantly measure one's achievements, appearance, and lifestyle against those of others. This habit often results in feelings of inadequacy and jealousy, eroding self-esteem and contentment, isolating and hiding out, driven by insecurity and fear of judgment. Individuals may avoid social interactions and challenging situations. This habit not only reinforces feelings of inadequacy but also prevents personal growth and the development of meaningful relationships. These habits, when combined with self-criticism and imposter syndrome, create a complex web of challenges for those struggling with a lack of confidence. For this situation, the author gives two suggestions. The first suggestion is to practice gratitude for the present. In daily life, there are many small moments worth being grateful for. When you walk with your lover, play with your pet, or hear your child's laughter, you can experience happiness and joy through heartfelt gratitude. If this causes you catastrophizing, worried that all this will disappear, then continue to focus your attention on gratitude for the present. Through repeated practice of gratitude, people will ease the fear of disaster imagination and gradually get used to the experience of happiness and joy. The second suggestion is to ask close friends to tell you why they like you. The love and affirmation from others will enhance your confidence, making you believe that you are worthy of good things. At the same time, this itself will make you feel happy and joyful, and gradually get used to the state. After talking about the three manifestations of lack of confidence, let's talk about the second type of bad thinking habit: Fear of failure. This type of habit mainly has three manifestations. The first is perfectionism. In the eyes of some people, failure is unacceptable. If others find that they are not good at something, or have a certain flaw, then they will lose others' attention and recognition and be abandoned by others. To avoid failure and its consequences, these people demand themselves to be perfect in every aspect, having the best job, the slimmest body, and the most outstanding children. Perfectionism brings them some achievements, but it does not make them happier. Perfectionists always worry that something is not done well, leading to endless anxiety and restlessness and exhaustion. Moreover, perfectionists usually have a strong desire to control. If they cannot control all the people and things around them, they will worry about accidents leading to their failure. Some perfectionist bosses will stand behind their employees to monitor their work and interfere with their tasks. Perfectionist parents will monitor every move of their children, from what to eat and where to how to complete homework, all according to their own arrangements. But everyone longs to control their own life. The behavior of perfectionists to control others will inevitably lead to quarrels and conflicts. The author believes that the formation of perfectionism is largely related to one's family of origin. Some parents are themselves perfectionists in their eyes. If a child is not perfect and fails, then they are not worthy of love. Other people, although their parents are not perfectionists, have a very outstanding sibling. They must put in more effort to be perfect and avoid failure to get the same attention as their siblings. To free themselves from the shackles of perfectionism, perfectionists can do two things. The first thing is to compare the gains and losses of perfectionism. We can think about what the real results would be if we failed in a certain aspect. Maybe we would be criticized by the boss for not doing well at work, or pointed out by others for not having a good figure. This would indeed be painful, but it may not have a significant actual harm. Then we think about what actual costs perfectionism has brought us. For example, to succeed in a career, one becomes a workaholic, resulting in a series of health problems, or due to excessive control, leading to constant conflicts with family members. Through comparison, many people will find that perfectionism is actually not worth it. After realizing this, the second thing perfectionists can do is allow themselves to relax and do some less than perfect things. We can list the areas where our perfectionist tendencies are most obvious, and then do some non-perfectionist behaviors in each area. For example, in the learning field, we can allow ourselves not to always be the first place. In the health field, we can allow ourselves to occasionally not exercise and eat whatever we want. We will find that even if we are not perfect, it will not result in unbearable consequences, but instead will make us more relaxed and happy. This will help us get rid of the fear of failure and the obsession with perfectionism. The second manifestation of fear of failure is overachievement. Some people use the achievements they have obtained to define their self-worth. If one thing fails, it is equivalent to their own failure. Therefore, these people will try their best to accomplish more things and use more achievements to accumulate their sense of security. The source of overachievement is very similar to perfectionism. If the parents themselves are overachievers, their children may also develop the habit of overachievement. Overachievers cannot enjoy the present and are always thinking about how to do the next thing. If an overachiever accepts a marriage proposal, they will immediately start thinking about the wedding and not fully enjoy the moment filled with love and joy. In addition, overachievers are used to handling multiple tasks at the same time, making them feel they can have more achievements. But a person's attention is always limited. Many difficult tasks require long-term concentration to be done well. Because overachievers spread their attention to different tasks, their work efficiency will actually decrease and are more likely to make mistakes. How to get rid of overachievement? The author believes that the key is to change the view of failure. We don't need to tie failure to self-worth and see it as a denial of oneself. We can change our perspective and see failure as a transfer station on the way to success, not the final destination. There is no one in the world who does not fail. Tennis king Federer cannot win every match, and Jobs cannot succeed with every product. It's important to reflect on failure, learn more from it, and achieve success next time. In this way, failure itself also has value. After changing the view of failure, overachievers will reduce anxiety, and their hurried pace will naturally slow down at this stage. The author suggests that people think about what is most important to them. Choose the highest priority things, such as personal health and intimate relationships, and invest their attention in these things. By achieving success in these areas and experiencing happiness and satisfaction, people will generate more self-worth and further eliminate the fear of failure. The third manifestation of fear of failure is refusing to seek help. We live in a highly communicative society. By opening a mobile phone, we can contact people thousands of miles away. But when people encounter difficulties, they rarely seek help from others. Many have told the author that their first reaction when encountering trouble is to hide away. If they must meet others, they often pretend that everything is fine. The author believes that the habit of refusing help stems from past experiences of failure. Some people have previously sought help but were ignored. criticized, or further hurt. A woman named Rachel shared with the author that when she was 11 years old, she was in physical pain due to an injury, but no one took her seriously. Thinking she wasn't really in pain, it turned out she needed surgery. This experience led Rachel to believe that no one cared about her feelings, and that seeking help would only lead to similar failures. As a result, she decided not to share her pain with anyone. The author reminds us that although refusing to ask for help might prevent us from getting hurt by others, it also brings its own harm. It prevents us from establishing healthier relationships, leaving us lonely and helpless, unable to cope with many of life's challenges. The author believes that in the long run, it's worth the risk of failure to seek help, even though it might lead to hurt. Persistence will eventually help us find trustworthy and reliable people, experiencing real love and support. This doesn't mean indiscriminately sharing our hidden pains with others. We need to find people who can understand us, whom the book refers to as compassionate witnesses. The primary trait of these witnesses is empathy. They can put aside their own thoughts and positions to understand the real feelings of others. For example, if a woman tells someone about problems in her marriage, some might trivialize it from their perspective, or suggest solutions like seeking relationship counseling. However, these are not acts of empathy. Witnesses would invite the person to share more details, listen attentively, and then express their regret for what the person is experiencing. The main goal of witnesses is not to provide solutions but to offer understanding and care during the listening process, which helps heal pain and trauma. It also assists the person in clarifying their own emotions and needs, giving them the strength to move forward if needed. Witnesses can also offer advice and help. How do we find such witnesses? One method is to observe how our friends communicate and identify those who are good at empathizing. Another way is to find a friend you trust and tell them about a difficult issue you're facing, asking them only to listen and then give you a hug at the end, without any advice. Friends who agree and fulfill this request are also qualified witnesses. Before we move to the next category, it's important to include two more habits. Under the umbrella of fear of failure, control, and self-sabotage, the control habit is characterized by an overwhelming need to manage every aspect of life, often leading to stress and strained relationships. In contrast, self-sabotage reflects actions that undermine personal success, driven by an underlying fear of failure. Both habits are crucial to address as they significantly impact one's ability to cope with and overcome the fear of failure, shaping a more adaptive and resilient approach to life's challenges. After discussing the three manifestations of fear of failure and suppression of emotions, let's talk about the third category of bad thinking habits: suppression of emotions. We mainly address two manifestations. The first is numbing negative emotions. Negative emotions like stress, anxiety, and fear can cause discomfort and pain. So many people's instinctive reaction is to distract themselves and numb these emotions rather than confront them. The author, in her 30s, would crave alcohol whenever she felt stressed or tense, using its numbing effect to stop thinking. Drinking, along with eating, shopping, gambling, or immersing oneself in work, can all be means to numb negative emotions. Apart from the resistance to pain, cultural factors also lead people to choose to numb their emotions. In American culture, expressing negative emotions is often seen as hysterical, irrational, and uncomfortable for others. Kids are often required by their parents from a young age to be strong and not emotional when facing problems. In this cultural atmosphere, people learn to use numbing to deal with negative emotions, seeing it as a sign of strength. These numbing methods may provide some comfort in the short term, but in the long term, they cause more problems. Emotional pain, like physical pain, is a warning, alerting us to issues that need attention. For instance, feeling unhappy at work every day might mean that the job is not suitable, and a wife's anger and dissatisfaction with her husband might indicate a need to improve their intimate relationship. These real issues won't disappear by numbing negative emotions, they will only worsen over time. Meanwhile, the methods used to numb emotions can lead to new problems, like alcoholism, binge eating, and credit card debt. Ultimately, these issues accumulate like a rolling snowball, getting bigger and bigger. Therefore, the correct approach to negative emotions is to accept and explore the issues behind them, enduring the struggle to make changes. In this process, people gain wisdom and strength, improving their lives. The author introduces several methods to help people accept negative emotions. The first method is to rethink what it means to be strong. Many women view expressing negative emotions as a sign of weakness, creating a significant psychological barrier. To eliminate this barrier, the author believes we need to reconsider what strength is. Strength means not being shaken or destroyed when facing problems, using courage and perseverance to overcome difficulties. Pretending everything is fine, ignoring negative emotions and the issues behind them, is not solving the problem and cannot be considered strong. True strength is being willing to open our hearts to face negative emotions like anger, disappointment, fear, and sadness, acknowledging them as part of our real lives, and bravely addressing the issues behind them. Understanding this, women can reduce the psychological burden of expressing negative emotions. The second method of accepting negative emotions is to trust our own feelings. People naturally fear negative emotions, worried that confronting them will lead to endless pain. But this is just an exaggerated fear of the unknown in reality. No one's life gets worse from accepting negative emotions, rather, numbing them brings more harm. We need to believe that our emotions are meaningful, warning us of problems. Those who stop numbing themselves and face their emotions ultimately make their lives better. The third method of accepting negative emotions is to release them appropriately. Accepting negative emotions won't hurt us, but the process does bring some pain. We need to release these emotions before focusing on the problems behind them. The author suggests finding an undisturbed day to face memories or issues that bring negative emotions. We don't need to try to solve these negative emotions, just simply release them. We can cry, scream, or punch pillows as long as it doesn't harm ourselves. We can also use the previously mentioned method to find a compassionate witness and share our pain with them. The process of releasing emotions helps heal inner wounds, improve self-understanding, and better addresses problems. The second manifestation of suppressing emotions is pleasing others. People who please others appear to be very good people. They want those around them to be happy and are willing to run around for others, always taking on everything by themselves. However, people pleasers are also in pain. They constantly suppress their own emotions, unable to say no even when others' requests make them unhappy, forcing themselves to complete tasks. The author believes that the habit of pleasing others comes from the parenting style in the family. Parents make various demands on their children in life, such as being polite, studying hard, and not making noise, which is normal. But some parents turn this into a transaction, only showing love and recognition when the child meets their demands. Children who grow up in such families believe that their value in life depends on others' opinions. If they don't meet others' demands, they don't deserve love. This makes them unwilling to express their emotions, fearing their refusal will anger the other party to stop pleasing others. The author thinks the most important thing is to learn to set boundaries. Boundaries refer to what is acceptable and unacceptable in our lives. Having boundaries means being able to refuse others' requests and no longer taking responsibility for making others comfortable. We need to realize that we are independent individuals, and our value in life does not depend on others' judgments. At the same time, others also have their own feelings and thoughts. As independent individuals, we cannot control what they think. If they are unhappy because of our refusal, that is their problem to solve, not our responsibility. Setting boundaries does not mean being inconsiderate. We can use a friendly way to inform others of our boundaries. For example, if your boss always assigns tasks without leaving enough time, requiring you to work overtime on weekends to complete them, you can first tell your boss that you are honored to take on such an important job, creating a friendly conversation atmosphere. Then you need to talk about your real feelings and let your boss know the negative impact of this excessive workload on you. You can tell him that continuous weekend overtime has caused you to not rest enough, lose concentration, and be more prone to mistakes. Finally, you need to clearly state your demands. Don't say, "I hope you reduce my workload," as that's too vague. You need to specifically tell him what you need, such as, "When you give me a project, at least leave 2 weeks' time." By positively expressing our demands and setting boundaries, we can have a more independent and autonomous, beautiful life, no longer controlled by others. With that, the book How to Stop Feeling Like Shit has been mostly introduced. The author reminds us in the book that changing any habit is not easy. Many habits have been with us for a long time. When we stop these habits, we may feel uneasy and fearful due to entering an unfamiliar state. But this unease and fear are temporary, as long as we have the courage to seek change and persist in practicing the methods mentioned in the book. We will eventually develop new habits that are beneficial to ourselves and have a more fulfilling, free, and happy life. That's all for How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. We hope this overview has sparked your interest and offered valuable insights. If you found it helpful, please leave a comment sharing your thoughts. Like this video to support us, and don't forget to subscribe to Express Book Insights for more enlightening book summaries and discussions. Your engagement helps us grow and continue bringing quality content to you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.